And we're on. What's going on, everybody? Christian Ballard, Ballard Sports Media. It is Georgia and Alabama hate week, baby. Let's go. We got Mayhem Matthew over there repping the Go Dogs, and I'm repping the Roll Tide. How you doing, Mayhem?
I'm doing great. I really am. And I was really excited to do this live stream because we got a jam packed show just for you all. So if you like this content, smash the thumbs up. We are streaming both on the Mayhem Matthew channel and the Ballard Sports Media channel. So get your content wherever you like to get your content and leave a like and hit the subscribe button on both channels.
Absolutely. And, there's so much that we want to get into tonight. I think this might end up being one of our biggest shows yet, just in terms of how much we have to get into. And I hope you guys can stick around the entire show tonight. Let's go ahead and check out the comments. We got Jackson Johnson in here so far. Of course, I've been chatting up with him a little bit. So love and appreciate you, buddy, for showing up. And we got 5 people watching at the moment. Looking forward to seeing what Mayhem has in store tonight. We are going to do bold takes, predictions. We're going to save the Georgia and Bama talk for the end of the show because obviously that's why everyone else is here tonight. But Mayhem, where do you want to start?
Well, let's go ahead and start with your first hot take of the night.
All right, I am going to make a bold take here. Obviously, we know the expansion of the 12-team playoff, and we got all these different teams that could get in. There can only be one champion at the end of the year on January 20th. But I'm going to make a bold claim that UNLV, who's off to a terrific start, is going to win the Mountain West and be the main go-to group of 5 team in the college football playoff. At least I'm saying that now. If they mess around and lose some games, I might be regretting this decision here, Mayhem. What do you think?
Yeah, so Boise State would be on the top of my list in the Mountain West. I'm pretty sure they're in the Mountain West. So yeah, UNLV. I'm gonna definitely disagree with this take. I got Boise State in that conversation.
No, I fully agree with you. Boise State obviously ranked there at 25, UNLV unranked, but they are 3-0. They got the win over Kansas last Friday. They have Fresno State this Saturday on FS1, and then they go to Syracuse, or they host Syracuse. So it is going to get tougher. I'm not going to say they're going to be undefeated, but I think that it's a good possibility they run the table. But the schedule does get tougher as you go. You got Fresno State, Syracuse, at Utah State, at Oregon State, who I think is kind of down at the moment, in my personal opinion. I mean, you got DJ's gone and Jonathan Smith now at Michigan State. So there's room for error if you're Oregon State. They could mess around and mess up. And they do, again, mention that they play Boise State and Hawaii. And I could go down the schedule. They get it easy in November, though, I think, with teams like San Diego State, San Jose State, and Nevada. So I think I am high on what the Rebels are doing so far this season. They are third in their conference. I like Matthew Sluka. I also love the wide receiver Ricky White, the third, who has 126 yards on the season. When you look at him, and then watch out for Arkansas transfer Jalen Catalone, who's a defensive back, already with 3 picks on the season for him, and one of those being a pick six. So they got some guys up there, and they also have recorded 9 sacks defensively when you look at the Rebel defense.
Yeah, for sure. UNLV is off to a hot start. They are undefeated currently. Boise State right behind them though with a record of 2-1. Their only loss is to Oregon, but remember Oregon had to come back to beat Boise State, okay? You got quarterback Maddox Madsen. He has a little over 600 yards on the season so far. Ashton Genty, he has like a little over 500, almost 600 rushing yards. You got a great receiver in Cameron Camper there. He has a little over 200 receiving yards on the season so far. Their schedule plays out pretty well. They got Washington State. That's going to be a tough battle for them, but they got Washington State at home. Utah State, they got to go on the road at Hawaii. Not going to be a problem. They got to go on the road versus UNLV, a team that you're very high on. A bold pick of yours. They're going to win the Mountain West and be in contention for that college football playoff spot. Also, they play San Diego State, Nevada. They got to go on the road to San Jose State, Wyoming on the road, and then they end versus Oregon State, which I totally agree with you. I think Oregon State is a little bit down this year, but not a really bad pick for you to go with UNLV. But I'm taking Boise State with, I like what I've seen so far with Boise State, although they haven't really played tough competition. But at the time, Oregon was ranked in the top 10. I think they're still ranked in the top 10. And they pretty much was beating them the whole entire game. And Oregon had to come back to win that game. So I like Boise State in the college football playoff, if you ask me.
I like it too. I really do. I think here's what I'll say. Another bold take that we didn't really prepare, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway. That I think the group of five team is coming out of the Mountain West Conference. You have one of maybe four teams that can make it. Fresno State, who's currently leading the conference right now, tied with San Jose State, UNLV, who I'm picking, and you like Boise State. Might we see our two picks for this conference in the conference title game go head to head with a playoff spot on the line, Mayhem? I think that would be very fun to see in December.
Yeah, I mean, that would definitely give us a lot of content to talk about. We can actually dive into the group of five and see this matchup if it actually were to happen. It does actually happen in the regular season, like I said. They've got 1, 2, 3, like 4 more weeks, and they'll be playing each other. Boise State has to go on the road to UNLV. So, but I still think, Boise State's going to probably take care of business there. I'm just, a lot of people are high on Boise State. I was really high on Boise State before the season. And there's a reason why people are high on them, because they're just a really good football team in the group of five.
For sure. That being said, let's go ahead and get into your first take of the night. What you got for us?
So, my first take is that I believe that Kent State has played the toughest schedule so far. Man, Kent State has gotten paid a crap ton of money so far in this season, because once I tell you this gruesome schedule through week 5, it's pretty bad. And, remember, we are talking about Kent State, okay? So for Kent State, this is a terrible schedule to start off the season. And remember, my hot take is Kent State has played the toughest schedule so far going into week 5. So I just want to make that clear.
No, you're absolutely right. I would fully agree with your take. Go ahead if you got the schedule, but
Yeah,
I know they played Penn State and Tennessee.
they just hear this out. They've started on the road at Pitt. Pitt is an undefeated team right now, a Power 4 undefeated team. They did play St. Francis. Okay, they lost. So, I don't count that. They went on the road to Tennessee, lost 71-0. They went on the road at Penn State, lost 56-0. Out of 4 games, they've played 3 Power 4 games and one little, nobody team that they couldn't beat. That is a gruesome schedule. They have not scored in the last two games, but I'm sure Kent State has definitely got a lot of money for their program. And, I know, listen, we all know that Tennessee, Penn State, and Pitt paid millions of dollars for them to get this win. They actually put up 24 points on Pitt to start the season, and which I think Pitt always has a pretty good defense year in and year out. So that was pretty, to me, that was really good for them that they were able to put up 24 points. But Pitt also put up 55. St. Francis, they beat them 23-17. Tennessee beat them 71-0. Penn State beats them 56-0. Do they get a break whenever they have to face Eastern Michigan? They do get a home game finally. Do they get a break? Do they still struggle? I don't know. They got to play Ball State. They got to go on the road to Bowling Green. That's going to be a loss for them. Bowling Green is one of the better Group of 5 teams too. Got to go on the road at Western Michigan. Not sure how they look this year, but I know that they took Texas last year, a team that made the college football playoff. They took Texas into the fourth quarter, and it was like a one-score game. They have to face Ohio, which lost to Kentucky last week. They go on the road at Miami of Ohio. They had to face Akron at home, and then they end the season at Buffalo. Not too familiar with a couple of these teams, but also a couple of these teams I am familiar with because they do play better competition, like Ball State. We've seen them play Georgia a couple years ago. We've seen Bowling Green upset Georgia Tech last year. We've seen them almost upset Penn State. They're a really good team, really good Group of 5 team. We've seen Ohio play Kentucky. We've seen Akron play teams like Tennessee and stuff like that over the years. So, I don't know. I mean, I think they've played the hardest schedule through week 5. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, you mentioned some really interesting teams on that schedule later on, especially with Buffalo. I mean, CJ Ogbonna with 4 passing touchdowns and 542 yards through 3 wins and a loss to Missouri is really good. And they're not really known for having explosive offense, at least on the scoreboard. But no, Kent State, you know, they're playing tough competition. You think about it, they're 0-4, they're over, right? But those losses, one was St. Francis, Pennsylvania. That's not really excusable. It's kind of inexcusable for Kent State, in my opinion, but it was a one-score game. It was 6 points. But I get losing to Pitt. I get losing to Tennessee. I get losing to Penn State. All that were on the road. Eastern Michigan comes to town this week. If they pull that win off, how does the rest of their season look? Is this going to be a team that runs the table to try to make a bowl game? Can they find rhythm and breathing room to squeak out 6 wins? I think it's possible, but Bowling Green's tough. Western Michigan can be a challenge. Ohio, Ball State. I mean, you mentioned some of the better Group of 5 teams that Kent State is going to have to face. So I agree with you that so far it's been the toughest schedule, but I don't think it's too much they can't overcome. But at the same time, it's not going to get any easier.
Yeah, they already started over. They would have had. I mean, I don't think they're making a bowl game. Kent State is just an awful team, and I know nobody really wants to talk about Kent State, but we're here talking about Kent State for a reason because I do believe I wanted to shine some light on this terrible schedule that they've been dealt with in the first 4 weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Speaking of Kent State, I mentioned they played Penn State. What do you say we go ahead and get into Ballard's number 2 take tonight? You
Yeah,
ready?
go for it.
My bold take, after what I've seen so far this year, Penn State plays and wins the Big Ten this year over Oregon. And that's a tough conference right now. I know Ohio State's out there. I know there's Oregon. I mentioned them being in it. I know there's USC or whoever. It's a tough conference, and they're competing with the SEC to be the best. I like what I've seen from Drew Aller, Nick Singleton, Kayshawn Allen. I love what I've seen from all these guys, and I love James Franklin. And I think that they've been on the cusp of all of this for quite some time, if not this year, with everything you had that returned. When does it happen? What do you think, Mayhem? Am I going overboard with Penn State here?
No, I don't think you're going overboard with Penn State. I'm gonna be honest. I was really high on them last year. I remember on an episode of Touchdowns Live back then. It was called Touchdowns Tuesdays. For those who really know, I said
OG.
that Penn State was going to win the Big Ten, and I was wrong. Michigan won the Big Ten. I don't want to be wrong twice in a row. Okay, it's okay if you're wrong one time. I don't want to be wrong again. And so far, I mean, let's just call it like it is. Ohio State bought the best team that college football can buy. Okay, and you got Will Howard, you got Quinshon Judkins, Jeremiah Smith, right? You got a full loaded roster there. You know what I mean? They got Travion Henderson. They have Emeka Abuka. They got Carnell Tate. I mean, I could keep on going with the guys that they have. They, Will Howard, Devin Brown, Julian Sam. I mean, they got the best, pretty much the best quarterback room in the country. They got the top rushers in the country, receivers. They got the best receivers in the country. It's hard for me not to choose Ohio State to win this year, the Big Ten. And as far as Oregon goes, I know Oregon struggled in the first couple of weeks, and I have taken a step back on Oregon. And I know the overreactions in college football is crazy. Oregon's got to show me that they can keep up and win big over these teams that they should be winning big over. They have struggled versus two Idaho teams, Idaho and Boise State. And I'm gonna be honest, I like Penn State to play for the Big Ten this year, but not not
Okay.
not versus Oregon. I have it versus Michigan. I have a rematch of Penn State versus Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
Okay, I respect that. On Oregon's side, I could get it. Dylan Gabriel has taken 7 sacks for a loss of 55 yards this year. That O line has just struggled. They lost some guys in recent years. They're struggling to rebuild it at least for this year. I do like the running back Jordan James, and Tez Johnson's been around for a while. They got the good weapons for him. He's doing, I think, outside of the sacks, I think he's doing okay trying to fill those shoes of Bo Nix, who's now with Denver. Uh, Evan Stewart comes in. Trayshawn Holden's back. He used to be at Bama. Evan Stewart comes over from A&M. They have some guys. Guys want to go play for Oregon. They have guys that they can help themselves. I would say this. I could understand if it's not over Oregon, but I am again saying that I think this is the year for Penn State. Whether they play Oregon, if they rematch Ohio State, which is probably the most likely scenario for them, but just kind of throwing some bold takes out there that I think teams like Penn State and Oregon could improve greatly throughout the season, and you could see them again in December.
I totally agree with your take on Penn State playing for the Big Ten. I don't want to say they're going to win the Big Ten because I did that mistake last year. Got to see them actually do it. And I felt like the best chance that they had to win the Big Ten was last season. They had like 80% of their production returning from that team. and everybody was high on Drew Aller, and I just was really high on Penn State last year. They disappointed me. They went the 10-2 route like they always go. And to be fair, I probably going to pick them to be in the Big Ten championship versus Ohio State. And like I said, Ohio State spent $13 million on their team. They bought their national championship team, so I expect Ohio State to be there just as well. And I'm expecting an Ohio State victory in the Big Ten.
I respect and fully understand. All right. Agree to disagree. But you're definitely onto something with Ohio State for sure, man. I mean, I get everyone taking them. I guess my mindset is always like, man, just like you gotta pull for the underdogs a little bit. You gotta have that underdog mentality and you gotta hope for the best, right? And I think the best is when you get those teams like a Penn State, in your case, like in Oregon this year, maybe, that just maybe they don't have quite what it takes to win all of it, but you can only hope. That being said, let's move on. Mayhem's number 2 take of the night. What do you have?
I believe Texas A&M and LSU should not be written off because of week 1 losses. I think that LSU and Texas A&M are two very, very good teams. Okay, LSU lost their first regular season game to Southern Cal 27-20, and then they played Nichols. They did kind of play down to their competition in the first half, but they ended up winning 44-21. They played South Carolina. They came back from 17-0. I don't want to hear South Carolina fans. Listen to me, okay? South Carolina fans, I don't want to hear anything about the refs cheating y'all, okay? Most of the calls that y'all are calling BS were the correct call on the field. So I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that play. I don't want to hear from the South Carolina fan that, oh, well, there was holding by LSU Tiger, the offensive their offensive line, they were holding us. You know what? In college football, if the referees really wanted to, they can find a holding call almost every single play in college football. So I don't want to hear that, okay, South Carolina fans? You lost. You was up by 17. The refs did not cheat you because you was up by 17. So I guess the refs was cheating LSU in the first and second quarter, right? Right? So South Carolina fans, you're South Carolina. Stay in your lane, okay? LSU beat you 36-33. Then you played last week at home, UCLA 34-17. By the way, people want to be commenting on my videos, on my prediction videos, talking about this video aged well. Well, guess what? My video, if you check out LSU versus UCLA, that actually did age well, okay? That aged very well, okay? That aged like some fine wine, all right? Because I said that LSU was going to win 31-17. They won 34-17. So the offense was actually a little bit better than I thought they were going to do by a field goal. So they played South Alabama this week. They're going to run all over South Alabama. They got Ole Miss. Do you really think that Ole Miss is going to beat LSU twice in a row? Yes, Ole Miss got a victory last year and on one of the worst LSU defenses that I can remember. And then, Ole Miss was in a shootout with them last year. Yes, I know Ole Miss has a lot of, new faces from the transfer portal because Lane Kiffin is like some transfer portal king or whatever. But LSU also brings in some talent on the defense. I think LSU's defense did get a little bit better. I thought they were going to be a lot better, but they did get a little bit better. And, give credit to LSU's defense against South Carolina. They was able to hold South Carolina whenever it needed to for the offense to make that 17-0 comeback, right? So I don't know. Ole Miss, you got them at home. That's not an easy win for Ole Miss. Oh, and if you know the history between LSU and Ole Miss, you know that always is a one-score game headed in late in the fourth quarter most of the time. You gotta go on the road to Arkansas. Arkansas is pitiful, trash, but that's always a good game. Got to go on the road to Texas A&M. Texas A&M. That leads me to the Texas A&M Aggies, right? They lost to Notre Dame. Yes, Notre Dame ended up losing to Northern Illinois. I don't know what happened to Texas A&M in this game. They had Notre Dame at home. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but they have a new quarterback in town in Marcel Reed, which I think is a lot better than Connor Wegman, in my opinion. And I know we haven't seen a lot from this quarterback, but he was able to dominate Florida, able to dominate Bowling Green, and I like Marcel Reed. Marcel Reed has a little over 400 yards receiving. They also got Le'Veon Moss. He has a little over 354 rushing yards this season. You got a couple of receivers in Cyrus Allen, Noah Thomas, and J.D. Walker. Really good wide receivers there. Also got Moose Muhammad. Got really good receivers. Okay, this Texas A&M team is loaded with 4 and 5 stars. Okay, don't y'all forget that. And Texas A&M's facilities is fit for Texas A&M to be very competitive in the SEC.
Absolutely. I fully agree with you. I think A&M is fit for it. I think LSU and what Brian Kelly has done and is doing, I think they're fit for it. I mean, the way I view it, man, like that that loss to USC for LSU, that could be the fuel to the fire for what they want to do this year. They could make the college football playoff. They can make a New Year's Six bowl. They could do whatever they want to this year. They could be that team. They could run the table, and their only other loss be to someone like, I don't know, Auburn or Alabama. I don't know. Maybe both. Maybe they have 3 losses. But does that make them a bad team? No. They get a tough schedule. They get a tough stretch. Whoever it might be.
I mean, there's you know,
I also would say the same thing about Texas A&M.
yeah, I mean, think about it, guys. LSU always loses their very first game. They've had ever since COVID, right? Ever since the 2020 season, they've lost their very first game opener. What do they continue to do? Win 9 and 10 games on on a regular basis. So this is going to be a very competitive team. LSU's offense looks better and better each week. LSU's defense, they continue to get better as well. I think LSU is going to be the most improved team in the SEC. As far as Texas A&M, yeah, they lost versus Notre Dame, but I don't think you should write off Texas A&M just because of their week 1 loss. I think they are going to have some tough competition. LSU and Texas A&M have to go up against each other, so that ought to be a really good game. And I think Texas A&M is going to be a really improved team as well.
I would agree with you on that one. We're not arguing in this stream just yet. So you're off. I'm letting you off the hook with this one, man. For real. Um, no, I like it, man. I really do. Are you ready to get into the what ifs, Mayhem?
Yeah, let's hear your what ifs. Number one.
All right. Number one. This is a doozy right here. So you look at the game this week. You look at the game last week. Oklahoma lost by 10 to Tennessee. Auburn lost by 10 to Arkansas. Similar scores. Actually, Tennessee had one more point and gave up one more point than what Arkansas had with Auburn last week. Very interesting, similar games there. Those two teams that lost meet on the field at Jordan Hare this Saturday, Mayhem. What if Auburn beats Oklahoma? What are we going to say about the Sooners? What are we going to say about Auburn? Someone's got to win this game and bounce back. But what if it's Auburn? What do you say?
I say instead of what if Auburn beats Oklahoma, I say Auburn will beat Oklahoma. That's what I say.
You think so? You think
I know,
so?
I know so.
Okay. I like it. I would pick them too. Absolutely. I like Hank Brown taking control of this offense.
Yeah, I don't. Let's just be honest here. The Oklahoma Sooners, their offense is non-existent. Okay, I just don't like them. Okay, you have Jackson Arnold. You know he got benched for the quarterback Michael Hawkins, right?
Yeah.
And then you had Peyton Thorne. He got benched for Hank Brown. Okay, now I don't know. Is Peyton Thorne going to start for Auburn? I don't know, but I've talked really bad about Peyton Thorne and how he was the bottom of the barrel. And Auburn, if you're listening to me right now, Auburn, okay, listen, come here. All right, come closer. All right, start Hank Brown. What are you doing putting Peyton Thorne out there? I know that Peyton Thorne threw like 3 interceptions last week against Arkansas. I understand that, but that was his very first SEC game,
Hold
right?
on. Peyton Thorne's first SEC game was last week.
Oh, Hank Brown. Sorry.
Now, I wanted to make sure. I'm trying to keep up with you, man. Go for
All right.
it.
Sorry about that. I I apologize, but well, you would think by Peyton Thorne's terrible offensive plays, terrible quarterbacking, you would think that Peyton Thorne, his first game was last week. You would think by his terrible quarterbacking, right? But anyways, I I like Auburn to win this game against Oklahoma. Oklahoma, and we'll get into this a little bit later. But Oklahoma has a extremely great defense. And Auburn at times doesn't have a great defense, but Auburn does have a decent defense to shut down anything Oklahoma is going to do offensively. All right.
Sure. I
And
would
and
say
and this is going I'm going to go ahead and say this. This is going to be a very very low scoring affair. I would actually be surprised if any team scores 20 points in this game.
I would actually agree with you there, man. It's funny we went into this show and we thought about doing stuff to argue about, but I'm gonna have to agree with you here, my friend. It's not a not so fast type of moment, but I would say it's low score. I could see I would not be shocked if this is like 14-10. Only because the offenses are struggling, but both defenses look so good. And it's crazy to say that about Auburn because it's been a minute since they had that chemistry with the defense, right? You had to go back to a time with Gus Malzahn or whoever, or even the Gene Chizik days. But also, I would say that it's crazy to think that this wouldn't be low scoring, like that it would be high scoring only because of, well, Oklahoma's history of offense, but also Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Rivaldo Fairweather. I mean, Auburn has those guys, but they don't have that leadership quite yet at quarterback. Whether it's Peyton Thorne or Hank Brown, I don't think there's a clear cut guy. I mean, I think it should be Peyton Thorne's team, but I still don't think even that is enough to say we can be explosive no matter who we play. What do you say to that?
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and respond to your, Peyton Thorne should be the guy. It should be his team. I totally disagree with you.
I know.
Peyton Thorne is like if you cannot sign any quarterback ever. I mean, Peyton Thorne is the thorn in the Auburn Tigers right now. Okay, you know the song "Every Rose Has Its Thorn." Every Tiger has his thorn, and the Auburn Tigers' thorn for their offense is Peyton Thorne. This is Peyton Thorne's last season. He's not going to be able to hit the transfer portal or anything like that. This is his very last season. He's going to be going off and do better things. He'll be working at Walmart or something like that in the future because there ain't no NFL future for him. Okay, sorry, not sorry, but Hank Brown, he's got a big future ahead. Okay, and I think that Auburn needs to go ahead and start Hank Brown. You know, it don't matter. He's going to figure things out, and he's going to take control of this offense, and he's going to look good doing it. Yes, had a really bad showing last week in his very first SEC game, right? You know, I told you to pump the brakes on Hank Brown because they beat up on New Mexico, right? So I said, hey, pump the brakes. Let's see what they do versus Arkansas. He threw 3 interceptions, but he's also a redshirt freshman. Give him a break. Give him some credit. Let him go against Oklahoma. You got Oklahoma at home. Let's see what he can do. It ain't like Oklahoma's offense can do much better. You know, they got Michael Hawkins Jr. at the quarterback for Oklahoma. That's also a freshman coming in. I like the pick for Oklahoma to go with Michael Hawkins Jr. I really do, and we're going to talk about him a little bit later. I think he's better than Jackson Arnold. I think Jackson Arnold is probably the worst 5-star quarterback since DJ Uiagalelei. Okay? So that's my thoughts on this.
All right. Well, I am going to stick, spoiler alert for our pick'ems, but I think Auburn could pull the upset this weekend. I really do.
Yeah, I also want to make a disclaimer. I'm not. I didn't. I want to say a disclaimer. Okay, for the people that work at Walmart, I don't. I'm not. I wasn't trashing you. I wasn't trashing the people that work at
What's up?
Walmart. Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there. I didn't want people in my comments saying, what's wrong with working at Walmart, mayhem? There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, I just know that Peyton Thorne is not going to go to the NFL. He's either going to be working at Jiffy Lube, Walmart, or your local restaurant. Okay, that's just what's going to happen. Or he might, have a good degree and he might go on and be an engineer or something like that. Who knows? But it's not going to be in the NFL.
All right. Up next, shout out to the people of Walmart. Your what if, your next one, or your first one, really. What if Lane Kiffin leaves for Florida? You care to expand?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and share the screen real quick?
Yeah. If I could, did it zoom in on me? I can't even see the share screen. Hold on. There it is. Okay. Lane Kiffin's Twitter. Yeah.
All right, so you can pause that video. So Lane Kiffin retweeted this post, and obviously that particular profile wants Lane Kiffin to come to the Florida Gators. Lane Kiffin, the troll that he is, and that he always will be, on the social media, he goes and puts a blue heart, Ballard. A blue heart. I'm pretty sure he's just trolling. But also, blue also is Ole Miss's color as well. But this is just really good trolling. And I bring up in my what if this ain't trolling? What if he does leave for Florida, and I want to hear your thoughts on this.
So, are we sure that he retweeted this to troll about going to Florida? Are we certain and sold on that?
Yeah, because I mean the account is a Florida Gators account. I
Well,
mean,
I know, but
if you,
like, I haven't even watched this, but I don't know what was said in this.
so
I mean, I'm assuming that's his daughter.
it's not about the video.
Okay,
The video was a get ready with me with his daughter, I think. But the read what the Florida account says. Read it out
I
loud for us.
freaking, I, I freaking love Lane Kiffin. Cry laughing emojis. He is absolutely everything that this current regime is not.
So
Oh, yeah,
he's talking about Florida.
yeah.
He's talking about Florida. He is
And he
currently
put a,
everything.
that's a blue, like hottie toddy blue heart. That's like Ole Miss colors, but also it could represent Florida colors, even though they are a darker blue, in my opinion. But either way,
Does the emoji? I mean, I don't know. I haven't really put any blue hearts recently. So I mean, is the emojis? Can you differentiate the colors, or is that the only standard blue for emojis? I mean, I think it's just a troll job by Lane Kiffin, but it does raise the question that what if Lane Kiffin leaves for Florida? And also, and two, I, there's a lot of people on social media that are 100% sold that if Lane Kiffin were to be offered this job for Florida, he's gone from Ole Miss. He's gone. There's a lot of people that believe it, and I want to know in the comments, what do y'all think?
anyway, um, yeah, no, that is Ole Miss blue heart right there. But my phone shows that there are two different blue heart emojis. There's a dark blue for Florida and one for Ole Miss colors. Anyway, that's beside the point. That's beside the that's beside the point.
Golly,
Mayhem's dying. Look at Mayhem. Look at Mayhem. He dying over here. Somebody called the ambulance on this man.
my boy
No,
said.
but dude, imagine. I think he'll be good wherever he goes. Like for real, man. He's on the cusp of greatness at Ole Miss, right? Like, don't you think that you give him a couple more years? Like, could he possibly be winning a national title? You think?
No, he ain't never winning a national title at Ole Miss. He will get to the playoffs, but as far as ceiling goes, what Lane Kiffin does this season at Ole Miss, and what Lane Kiffin does this season at Ole Miss will be pretty much the ceiling for this Ole Miss team. This is ceiling. You might be if Lane Kiffin ends up being like a 5 seed and they face the 12 seed, which is probably going to be like a group of 5 or whatever champion. In most years, it probably would be the group of 5 champion. So 5 versus 12, they'll beat that team. I think the ceiling for an Ole Miss team that's led by a head coach by the name of Lane Kiffin is probably like round 2 of the playoffs.
I got you. Up next. That being said, that is it for your what ifs. Oh no, it's not. You got one more. My next what if. What if Notre Dame loses to Louisville this week?
They are.
But if it happens, what does it mean for Louisville or for Notre Dame?
It means Notre Dame's just not that good. And Louisville, you know what's so funny? I like to go back and reminisce on the times that we've had on this touchdowns live show. I I mean, remember it was just not this past off season, but the last one, and I was like, you was going over the Louisville schedule, and you was going on like who they bring back and stuff like that, and who comes in for the Louisville
Oh, and
team.
I was saying something about I wasn't too high on them, and now look where they are, and you disagreed with me, right?
No,
Or was it
it
the other way?
it was the other way.
I was high on them, you were not, and
I started
now
laughing,
you started laughing at my take. I
and
told you
then
that's right.
yeah, I started
I
laughing,
told
and
you.
you said, "And Mayhem's laughing."
Oh, I remember that. I think we clipped that somewhere. That's somewhere on my
Yeah,
channel. I think it's a
yeah,
short.
yeah.
I remember that because I was like, I don't know why Mayhem's laughing over here. Let me find. I'm gonna keep talking. I'm gonna try to find that.
Yeah, so Louisville has definitely changed my mind. I like Coach Brom and what he's able to do at Louisville. He's also alumni at Louisville. And also if you can't find it, it's definitely on my channel by the way. But yeah, Louisville, I like what Coach Brom is doing at Louisville. He's also an alumni at Louisville. Notre Dame, I still can't forgive them for that Northern Illinois loss. You know what I mean? And I think that Notre Dame is just not a great team. They beat the will and live out of Purdue just to make a statement, like they were going to run the table or something like that. And I just don't believe that a win for Notre Dame is going to happen this weekend versus Louisville.
I can't find the short. What were you saying?
Here, you.
Couldn't find it.
I was just saying that Jeff Brom's doing a great job, and
Yeah,
If Notre Dame, um, if Notre Dame wants to win this game, they're gonna have to put they're gonna have to. They're not winning this game. Okay, sorry. Louisville's gonna win this game, and Notre Dame's going to lose. I still can't forgive Notre Dame because of what they did versus Northern Illinois. They showed their true colors,
yeah, but like,
and it's hard for me. It's hard for me after a Northern Illinois loss to say, "Man, y'all beat Purdue 60 something to whatever it was. Man, y'all are a good team now." No, you're not. Purdue's just worse than you.
one game doesn't define a team, though, and I know that it's still one of those things we're going to always point and laugh at for them losing that game. But no, Northern Illinois, though, man, like, I mean, what if they're just good in their own way right now? I mean, they're 2-1. They only lost by 3 points to Buffalo. They got to play NC State this Saturday. What if they pull that off? What are you going to say then? I mean, I can't write off Notre Dame completely. I know they're not making the playoffs, but like, I don't think they're a bad team.
I think they're a really bad team.
We'll only see how the rest of their season goes. They got a tough stretch, man, and it
By the
starts this
way,
weekend with Louisville.
by the way, I sent. If you want to go ahead and share the screen, I sent something. If you want to play it,
Is it the Robert Griffin?
no, the other one.
That's all you sent me.
Check
It was
again.
on Facebook.
Yeah.
Hold on. Why am I doing this? I'm not pulling this up.
What?
The latest thing. Did you find it?
Yeah.
Is this the short?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. We found it. This was on your channel. Stay. I gotta buy them. Listen.
No, that's not it. Sorry. My bad. I thought I found it. It's
That's not it?
yeah. Give me 1 second. That's not it. Just give me one
Send
second.
it to me when yeah, just send it to me when you get there.
It was
But
around that. But anyways,
it's about that time.
let's go ahead and move on to the next thing.
Yeah, your last what if. Uh what if Oklahoma had an explosive offense?
What's that?
What if Oklahoma had an explosive offense? That's yours.
Yeah. What if Oklahoma had an explosive offense? What would their record look like? They're 3-1. They've only lost one game, and that was to Tennessee. And I've already said this in my reactions video, and I'm gonna say it again. What if I told you that Tennessee and Oklahoma had the same amount of touchdowns in this game? Two. They had two touchdowns apiece. This was a very defensive game. Oklahoma's offense does not know how to throw the forward pass. They've got a lot of problems offensively. They remind me of last year's South Carolina offense. Terrible. A terrible situation with a lot of injuries early on in the season, but that comes with the game of college football. Oklahoma just does not have a good offense. They're downright terrible at this point. They're making a change at quarterback. I think the quarterback that they've made the change, Michael Hawkins Jr., is the right one. And we are going to talk about him later on in the show. I think he's the correct call because you need to get him in the game because he's significantly better than Jackson Arnold. And like I've already said, Jackson Arnold probably is the worst Power 4 5-star quarterback since the DJ Uiagalelei experience. So, and you see what's going on at Florida State right now, with DJ. So, Jackson Arnold isn't the answer. I've had a lot of Oklahoma Sooner fans try to come on here and hype up Jackson Arnold. He's a 5-star. He's amazing. He's talented. Yada yada yada. He did really good in a bowl game. Like whoop dee freaking do. It's a bowl game. Let's see what he does on the field versus some good teams. He struggled with a bunch of bad teams. And bring in Michael Hawkins. Although he was struggling, but he looked better, in my opinion, than Jackson Arnold. So what if Oklahoma Sooners did not have the injuries that they had? They got Michael Hawkins Jr. in there and was able to be a really good offense. Are we talking about today how Tennessee gets upset by the Oklahoma Sooners or what? I want to hear your thoughts.
Mm, I don't know. I mean, look, if Oklahoma has an explosive offense, then we find out that Tennessee has a really good defense. I already think Oklahoma has a good defense. I think we've seen that. Are they saving their offense? I don't know. I think that this Auburn game is going to be defining this weekend. Um, but I think there's a lot about Jackson Arnold to love. I also think that there's a lot to love about some of their receivers, like Burks. But Oklahoma is coached by Brent Venables. He's a defensive guy. He was Clemson's DC for years. He not that he doesn't know what he's doing offensively, but sorry, that's not his strong side of the ball.
Yeah. And it's really crazy to see how Oklahoma's changed over the years because just just a few short years ago, we seen Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma with the explosive offense, absolutely no defense. Now the tables have turned. Oklahoma has no offense, a great defense. And I'll go as far as to say this. Oklahoma's defense is just as good as Tennessee's. That's what I've took away from this game.
Ranking news, by the way, from the Pac 12. Can I break that?
Sure.
In addition to some of the other four members that are going to join in 2026. Utah State is joining as a seventh member starting in 2026 for the Pac-12. Pac-12 going at it. Anyway, never mind that. So back to Oklahoma. Um, if they had an explosive offense, they probably would have competed a little bit more with Tennessee. They got a good defense, kind of, sort of. I mean, I think
Sorta.
holding Tennessee to. Don't yell at me.
Sorta. They got a great
Really
defense.
good. I know they do.
They got just as good a defense as Tennessee does.
I know they do. Holding Nico Iamaleava in that offense to only 25 points is really, really good. I just kind of say things like that, dude. You should know this by now. We've been doing this for 2 years. I don't know why you're getting so upset. Get me riled up. Golly. Get a grip, man.
Okay. All right, what's next?
Let's just move on. You want to do the pick'ems, the
Yeah,
face
let's
of
do that.
college football? Which one? The pick'ems?
Yeah, let's do the pick'ems. Let's go.
All right, let's get it over with. I don't even know what that is. Hold on. What is this? All right, let's see what games they got for us this week. Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, Baylor, Louisville, Notre Dame. We talked about a little bit. Arkansas, A&M, Liberty, and App State, Fresno State, UNLV should be a good one. Auburn, North Carolina, and Duke, and then Georgia, Alabama, of course, and Washington State, Boise State. So I already got score prediction typed down. I went ahead. I'm picking an upset Auburn over Oklahoma. No, I'm not. I accidentally clicked on that. But let's start with this first game Oklahoma State, Kansas State. Who you got?
Well, Kansas State disappointed me last week with their loss, but I think they bounce back and I think they get a win over Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State they're really good. They're a really good team too. This is going to be one for the books for sure. It's going to be a very close game, and I'm going to go ahead and say Kansas State wins.
Mm, it's almost a 50-50 game. It is at Manhattan, Kansas. Uh, of course, Kansas State lost 38-9 to BYU. Oklahoma State a little bit better loss, 22-19 against Utah. They took Arkansas to double overtime. Kansas State. I mean, both these teams have had roller coaster years. Just to disagree, because I can't pick, I'm going to say Oklahoma State just to disagree, but I could go either way here.
For sure.
BYU and Baylor, this could be good. Can BYU stay undefeated going on the road here to Waco? I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, BYU's going to beat the brakes off of Baylor.
Oh
And
my God.
I just want to go on a rant, right? We're
Yeah.
going to talk about. I want to go back to this game because I want to go on my rant because this game right here. We should have done this game like almost last, but I want to go back to this game after we do the pick'ems because that's going to lead us into the next segment. So I'm gonna save my rant until then. So yeah, BYU is going to beat the brakes off of Baylor. They're not going to be able to go get a last second Hail Mary, to go into overtime. They're just let's move on. I want to save it for
Yeah.
my rant later. Yeah, they're going to beat the brakes off of them.
Undefeated Louisville going to South Bend. Afternoon game, though. Thank God it's not at night if you're Louisville, because that would be rough. 15 versus 16. Really close game. We had mentioned this one a little bit before. What do you think, man? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling like Louisville is just going to win. I'm not feeling anything from Notre Dame. I'm feeling really calm
Me
about.
neither,
I'm,
man.
I'm, I'm,
I
I'm,
think,
I'm
look,
really, that calm before the storm.
yeah.
Yeah, that I'm feeling that calm before the storm. Louisville is going to go in to Notre Dame, and they are just going to rain all over their parade, Louisville's going to win.
I agree. I think Notre Dame showed their true colors against Northern Illinois, even though Northern Illinois has shown to be a good team this year so far. That's an inexcusable loss for Notre Dame. I mean, Marcus Freeman, if he can't handle the group of five, remember he lost to Marshall last year, 2 years ago, whatever it was. And if you can't handle that, man, you can't handle the big games like this. Give me Louisville. It might be
Yeah,
close, though.
yeah. Northern Illinois showed that they're a really great team, losing to Buffalo 23-20 in overtime. Yeah.
What up, Jess? How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Love you. Best co-host out there. Sorry, Mayhem. Uh, I'm just kidding. You're both equal in my heart there. Anyway,
Did you hear
Arca-
what did you even hear what I said?
what?
I said Northern Illinois. You said that Northern Illinois has proven to be a great team this year, and I responded to you, and I didn't get no response back. You said that they were proven to be a great team, and I said yes, they're such a great team. They lost 23-20 in overtime versus a team called Buffalo.
I take back what I said. Move on. Arkansas, Texas A&M. I think this is no doubt going to the Aggies, but this is one of those rivalry. Is this not neutral site? Let me see. Yes, it's in Dallas or Arlington. A&M is favored by 4 with a 56.2% chance to win. You had mentioned Marcel Reed last week. I watched a little bit of him uh, in that Bowling Green game. He wow. I mean, dude, 16 of 29, 173 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he was the lead rusher. I got to go Aggies here.
Yep. So I went against the Arkansas Hogs last week, and somebody commented on my video talking about this aged well. Guess what? Guess what, guy? The guy that commented. Guess what? I'm going against them again. I'm gonna pick Texas A&M to win, and this is going to age really well. It's going to age real well. You hear me? Texas A&M wins.
All right. Liberty and App State. Liberty 4-0, App State 2-2, looking to bounce back. Was it this past weekend they played Clemson?
Mm,
Or
uh,
the week before? Week
yeah,
before?
I think, yeah, week before.
I'm going Liberty, but App State's not too. Well, I don't know, man. They Clemson beat the brakes off of them. I credit them for getting 20 points in that game, but like it was like 2 weeks ago. Then they get blown out by South Alabama, but they did beat Eastern Carolina. They can't keep up defensively against these fast tempo offenses, and I think Liberty's one of those. The matchup predictor, interestingly enough, has this literally a 50-50 game. I'm
Yeah,
surprised at that. I would favor Liberty just a little bit more.
yeah, I agree with you.
All right, so we're both going Liberty here.
Yes, sir.
All right, we had mentioned UNLV earlier. They play Fresno State here. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going UNLV.
I'll go. Ooh, excuse me. I'll go with them too. Accidentally clicked on this. I can't pick Auburn here, man. I got to go Oklahoma. I know Jordan Hare is tough, but Auburn just is struggling right now. They just are struggling. He needs
Yeah,
some help.
I think
He
Auburn's
needs some
struggling.
medicine.
I think Auburn's struggling in the same exact position that Oklahoma's struggling in.
But Oklahoma's
I
a little bit better.
Oklahoma is better defensively. I'll give you that. You're going into Jordan Hare. That's what
That is true. I said in the offseason when I looked
does
at the teams,
does Auburn go back to back losing in Jordan Hare? I don't know if I could pick that. I'm going Auburn.
I'm going to agree with you. Plus, this, That Tennessee game, even though Oklahoma lost, that was at home. Can they handle the SEC crowd like that? I mean, we had talked a little bit about that, but like this is different than hosting the crowd. This is going to the crowd. And I'm going to say they can't do it. I'm going to go Auburn with you.
For sure.
UNC and Duke. Duke 4-0, UNC 3-1, coming off a loss to JMU, James Madison, where they gave up 70 points. You don't know how you come back from that. I like Criswell at quarterback, and I like Amari Hampton, but I don't know how. I think it's going to take a couple weeks to recover if you're North Carolina. What do you say?
I say that Duke might just put 100 points on North Carolina. That defense is just that bad. Jeff Collins' defense is just that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. We're coming back to this one. That's obviously we know what we're going to pick because of our fans and stuff. But before we get to that, uh, Washington State, Boise State. What do you think? Washington State's 4-0. Keep that in mind. But it's at Boise State, who's ranked and 2-1.
Yeah. So Washington
So
State. Not sure who's Washington State has played up until this point, but I would go out on a limb and say this is probably going to be their toughest competition. You know, Washington State is in what the Pac-12 is growing right now, but as far as they're playing like
they
a
did beat they did beat Texas Tech and Washington the first games 2 and 3 after beating Portland State and then San Jose State in double OT last week. So they have some
yeah.
close but really good wins.
Right.
Whereas Boise State's lone loss is Oregon by 3 points. This is really tricky to call.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not sure if I can confidently pick Washington State. So
Yeah,
they don't have Cam Ward anymore, and I'm sure a Washington State fan will be in my comment section talking about some. Well, they got this quarterback and he's just as good. Yeah, right. I'm going Boise State here.
me too. Oh no. Uh the game we've all been waiting for, folks, as I say this nervously. Number 2, Georgia taking on number 4, Alabama in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Saban Field at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Alabama coming off a bye week. Georgia rested up off a bye week. Could go either way, in my opinion. 59% of people have picked Georgia. 41% have picked Alabama. Would it be a little different if Nick Saban's the head coach, you think, Mayhem? Or like is all of this a DeBoer thing, or is Georgia just that good this year?
So a lot of people are going to go to that Kentucky game and say that Georgia is not going to win this game. It's in Bryant Denny. Alabama's been looking like a top team in the country. Blah blah blah. Wham wham wham. Let's not forget though, Alabama struggled with South Florida for 3.5 quarters. I don't care that you blew them out. Okay? And Georgia's going to win this game. They're favored by 1.5 points. They're going to win by more than 1.5 points. This is going to be a very close game. I don't know. If Alabama scores 30 on Georgia, I'm gonna keep it real. I think Alabama wins, but Georgia, with their elite defense, they need to tighten up on the defensive line. But they should be getting back Warren Brinson and Michael Williams to help with that. And Georgia don't have Tate Ratledge on offensive line, but we got some guys, we got some dudes, we got 5 stars all over the field. We're gonna be ready. This is not Kirby Smart's very first big game. This is actually Kalen DeBoer's first really big game at Alabama. So we'll see how that is being, how that is able to test Kalen DeBoer and his football team. Obviously, Jalen Milrow's been there before. A couple of other Alabama players have been in this situation before. This is going to be a good matchup. I think it's going to live up to the hype. But I am saying the Georgia Bulldogs is going to win. Whenever during Kirby Smart's press conference, he was asked, "What would a win over Alabama mean to you this weekend?" And his answer was, "Well, after we win versus Alabama, we'll go look into Auburn next week." That's literally what he said. Because
So he's overlooking Alabama.
No, that's not what's happening.
I'm just kidding. Go on.
So Kirby Smart was asked by one of the media people, "What would a win over Alabama mean to you? What would it mean to you?" And he said, "Well, it means that after you get a win over Alabama, it's time to get ready for Auburn." So what he's saying is we still got a lot more really good competition to play against, and Alabama is just another one on the schedule. And I think he's laser focused on this game. I think the bye week really helped Georgia. I would be less confident if we didn't have a bye week. I know Alabama had a bye week as well, but I'm very confident in Georgia getting things done versus the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Okay. I would say this, Mayhem, that the game's in Tuscaloosa, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, what happened the last time you went?
To Tuscaloosa?
Yeah, who won?
What year was that again?
2020.
COVID year? Okay, paper champions. All right, next.
Paper champions. We won that outright.
Who cares about who cares about a COVID daddy?
Alabama. Let me put on Lee Corso real quick. Alabama and Georgia have met 73 times in history. Alabama leads 43-26. And there are 4 ties, Mayhem. Okay? Now, I look at this game and I don't know.
Nobody cares what you don't know, Ballard. Georgia's going to win this game. It's not even going to be close.
They're not better, dummy. Alabama is still the standard until proven otherwise. Nick Saban's working behind the scenes, pulling the strings on the board, and you know it.
Kirby Smart has won 2 of the last 3 national championships.
Is he hungry for more?
Is he hungry for more? Listen, the Nick Saban era is over. Stop living in the past. This is Kirby Smart's era of football. I hate this. I hate whenever you sit here and talk about how Alabama has 18 national championships. Nobody cares about that, Ballard. Nobody. Not one person.
Quarterback. They got a better quarterback this year.
No, they don't.
They got the best wide receiver in Ryan Williams. They got Justice who we took out of your backyard in Buford, Georgia, and you can't deny that.
Just a delusional Alabama fan. Okay? We've got our wide receivers. This is the best wide receiver group that Georgia's ever had. Okay? And you think 33-18 is bad?
Georgia might win with Kentucky. You struggle with Kentucky.
Are you serious?
You know how sad and pathetic that is?
You know how sad and pathetic.
13-12.
You know how
At
sad and
least when we
pathetic it is.
struggled, at least when we struggled with USF, we pulled away. I was at that game. I saw what happened on the sidelines. He was ripping them a new one, man.
So
They got him in
you pulled
shape.
away. You pulled away, really? You pulled
Yes,
away,
in the fourth quarter.
or did South Florida give it to you? Did you really pull away
Really?
though? Did you really?
You don't, bro.
I'm gonna
The
be
fact
honest,
that
Ballard.
you think,
I'm
the
gonna be
fact that
honest,
you
Ballard.
think
Let me
Georgia can
cook.
even go in there
Let
and
me
win,
cook. Let me
fine,
cook.
cook and serve it up. Then
If Georgia plays like they did in the second half of Clemson, and Alabama plays like they did against South Florida in the first 3.5 quarters, Georgia's going to steamroll y'all, and it's not even going to be close. All right, so stop talking about the Kentucky. Oh, you struggle with Kentucky. You struggle with Kentucky. Guess what? Kentucky's in the ACC, in the SEC. Sorry,
the
Kentucky's in the SEC.
ACC.
No, Kentucky's in the SEC, okay? Kentucky has a really good defense. South Florida, where are they at? Where are they at, brother? Are they in the SEC playing week in and week out? I don't think so. Brother.
I say all that to say Georgia can win.
They
They're
are
just
going to
not
win.
going to.
They're
Huh?
going to win.
How?
It's not can they win. They
Who's the
are.
best program? Who's the best program?
Georgia.
No.
Yes.
No.
I mean, are you talking about like
Kirby Smart's going to get a butt whooping on Saturday, and he's going to go shake hands at midfield with DeBoer, and he's going to be like, I'm sorry I lost to you, Daddy DeBoer. And you're going to have to own up to it.
and
Give
then
me
you woke
Alabama, baby. Give
and
me
then you
Alabama.
and then you
Give
woke
me
up.
Alabama.
And then you woke up. You woke up from that fever dream, Ballard. You woke up.
Let's go, Bama. We're winning this. And spoiler alert for Friday, by the way. I got the score prediction 31-30, baby. Let's go.
Ballard.
Go teach the Bulldogs to behave.
Ballard.
The Bama's fucking good at playing. Ba-dum. Remember the way go away and hey, go to go to hit your shot. You're going to take off 5, roll tide, go tide. What you got to
Who's
say?
that coming down the track? It's the mean machine in red and black. Ain't nothing finer in the land than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan. Go Dogs! Go Dogs! Go Dogs! Sick 'em! Ho, 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 ho.
Pathetic! You are pathetic!
Roll Tide!
All right,
I
Ballard.
love you, brother. I love you, brother. Hey, look, it's gonna look. All the trash talk aside, this is the game of the year. This is their national championship. Is that fair? No matter who makes the national championship, this is it, bro. This is it. Because Texas, let's just call it what it is. I think Texas is going to be in that SEC title game, and I'm going to make a bold bet. Win or lose, Texas is going to play the winner of this game.
Okay.
They already got to play.
So-
They already got to play Georgia later on. What if they play them twice?
They will.
Maybe. You got a score prediction for this game? I got 31-30. Defensive stop.
So remember, also fix your microphone. Also, let me see. Let me think of a score prediction here. I think Georgia wins this game. Twenty 27-24.
That is so. That is so original, man. You know that's the score of the SEC title game last year that I predicted. I'm dead serious.
Okay,
You knew
maybe
that. You had to have known that. You did not just pull that out your rear end.
yes, I did.
I did predict it. Go on my Facebook, bro. Go on my Tidal Wave talk from last year. I predicted that exact score, and I got it right. Plus, it was the score of the Iron Bowl the week before.
So, what are the odds that you get this one right?
You're probably better off than I am.
I don't know. I mean,
I don't
all right,
know, man.
23.
That works. That works. I'll take
I
it.
mean, it's going to be in the 20s. We're both going to be somewhere in the 20s.
So, how do they win? Did they get a late touchdown, or are you with me on what Alabama does to win and get a late defensive stop?
I
And kneel
think
it down,
Georgia. I think Georgia totally. I don't think it's going to be within question. I think Georgia stays in the lead the whole entire time and gets the win.
in the lead the whole time. You don't think Alabama could draw first blood, though? I mean,
Yeah, but they could. But I'm thinking Georgia just goes ahead and takes care of business. I think they're going to be ready.
we'll see. I'm looking forward to it, man. I really am.
I think we could definitely.
Don't forget, guys. Don't forget, I will be live for the game this Saturday.
I'll say this, right? I think definitely they can be tied going into the fourth quarter or something like that. I think it could be like really good. I think it'd be a really good game.
What
But
would you place? What would you place on it going into overtime, possibly like it did in 2007, and then second and 26 in this
listen,
rivalry?
listen, listen. We don't need an overtime game
Georgia
because
can't win an OT.
they can, but
That Rose Bowl they did. That
I
Rose Bowl.
don't want to be standing on top of my head. Okay, Georgia. If you could do one thing for me, Georgia, just don't go in OT because like we won in the Rose Bowl versus Oklahoma in OT, and don't I just don't want if Georgia's going to lose. I'm gonna be honest with you. As a Georgia fan, I don't want to lose, but I don't want to lose like you're predicting 31-30. I don't want to do that. I want to lose in a butt spanking. I mean,
Like
if
if Alabama's gonna win, just beat us and go home, right?
yeah, just spank us. I
Yeah.
want it to be over in the first quarter. I mean, just literally spank us. I mean, I don't want to be standing on top of my head and into the fourth quarter. I don't want to be like having an attack, having a nervous breakdown because Georgia can't get a first down or something like that heading into the fourth, late in the fourth. You know what I mean? And if Alabama's going to win, I just want them to mollywop us and get us all. Let's go ahead and get ready for Auburn and stuff like that. And hopefully, all of our playoff hopes and all of our national championship hopes are right in front of us, even if we lose this game. So, like, to be real, I want Georgia to take care of business and win this game. But if we are going to lose, I want it to be like the SEC championship a couple years ago in 2021, like a 42-24 type deal. Just go ahead and get it over with. Give me my spanking. Go ahead and give me my spanking so I can cry in the corner and and then I'll be okay after it. We can see exactly, Georgia can see exactly where they're struggling in and they can get better from it. But I don't want to pull off this 31-30 Alabama. I don't want your prediction to be right this year, if you want me to be completely honest.
I gotcha. What else you got tonight?
You want to do the buy and sell?
I don't know if I could do one more segment. I do want to do something before we go though, because I think it's only fair. I'll only do it this one time for you, okay? Is that okay?
Sure. I do. While you're yeah, go ahead and do that. I do want to talk about one more thing though that I really wanted to talk about.
What's that?
I wanted to do the Deion Sanders talk, and then
I mean, we've all right. How quick will this be?
5 minutes.
All right. Go for it.
So can you share the screen real quick?
Yeah, I got to pull the tab back up. It accidentally closed out. Hold on.
We're bringing you all the content today, guys. All the content. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, wherever you want to, on Ballard's channel or on my channel or both. All right, Ballard. Can you please read that?
Yeah, this is from RG3, Robert Griffin III. He puts on Twitter, Deion Sanders is the face of college football. There are better teams, there are better programs, but win, lose, or draw, no one has captivated college football like Coach Prime, Shadur Sanders, Travis Hunter in Colorado. Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter both made plays against Baylor when their team and coach needed them the most. They made those plays in the biggest moments of the game because primetime players make primetime plays in primetime moments. Deion Sanders is primetime and his influence rubs off on his entire program. A lot of people wonder why Colorado's fans rushed the field after beating a 2-1 Baylor team. They rushed the field because they know what it was like before Coach Prime and his Lewis luggage showed up. There were no season ticket sellouts since 1996 when Deion season tickets are sold out for the second straight year. School applications are up 20% with a 50.5% increase in black student applicants. Colorado made $113.2 million from its 2023 home games alone, which led to a 51% increase in revenue through media rights with Coach Prime at the helm. Before Coach Prime, no one searched for a Colorado game. Last year alone, Colorado averaged 7.2 million viewers per game. Holy crap. With 5 games ranked in the top 20, ranked in the 25 most watched college football games of the year. That trend continues this year as well. Coach Prime has turned the worst Power 5 school in the country into one that people care about. Win or lose, you watch. Cheering for or against, you watch. However, his biggest accomplishment isn't making the Colorado Buffaloes relevant again. His biggest accomplishment is empowering the young men in his program to believe in themselves, trust God, and rejuvenating an entire city in the face of massive pushback against his style. Deion Sanders took 2 HBCU football players in Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter and helped coach them into 2 of the best players in the country who are both in the Heisman race. Took multiple HBCU football players and helped coach them into high-level Power 5 starters who have NFL futures. You see, the thing about Deion Sanders is he is just as misunderstood as he was as a player. With him, you earn what you get, and every single player in his program knows that. On a deeper level, watching him coach his sons is inspirational. What Dion and LeBron have done for their families and their sons should be celebrated. As fathers, they weren't just there, they were active. They didn't just have the title of baby daddy, they are fathers. Black fatherhood has long been mischaracterized as absent and negative. It's amazing to see black fatherhood today on the highest levels be characterized as present and supportive.
All right. So that's a lot. That's a lot that he wrote. And I agree with
Yeah.
99% of it. I really do. But to say that Deion Sanders is the face of college football is kind of like low key disrespectful to the coaches out there and the players out there that have, built other teams like Georgia, right? And you can even say, Nick Saban, what he's been able to build Alabama, that's like a low key slap in the face to a Kirby Smart. He's the head coach of Georgia. Before Kirby Smart got there, our last national championship was 1980. Okay. So, I mean, the face of college football to me is somebody that is very influential and very successful in the game of college football. It's both. Is not just, what you do for these young men, because I can say that about every single head coach in college football right now, that they do a lot for these young men. They do a lot for these athletes, and they try their hardest, but there's only one face of college football, and right now I think that's Kirby Smart. But I also believe that Deion Sanders, everything that he said about Deion Sanders with Colorado and all the other stuff, I agree with. But don't sit there and tell me that Deion Sanders is the face of college football whenever you got a guy like Kirby Smart at the helm that literally built this program into one of the best programs in college football right now. I mean, before Kirby Smart, we always would lose a game to South Carolina or Vanderbilt, or we would lose to Florida, or we would lose one of these games where we should not be losing, and we're always this close. We're always this close, and just this close, and we could never get over the hump. And what Nick Saban's able to do, I mean, what am I talking about? What Kirby Smart was able to do.
You wish.
Sorry, it is almost midnight here. But
Yeah.
what Kirby Smart was able to do with with the Georgia Bulldogs, and what he's able to do for his players, is phenomenal and, pretty impressive. It's very hard to win back-to-back national titles. It's very hard to retain players, retain coaches, because of NIL and these coaches getting better deals to go elsewhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, take a look at UCLA. They lost their head coach. Ballard, to Ohio State for an offensive coordinator job. Who does that? Chip Kelly was a head coach. He moved to a
good one
offensive.
too.
He moved to a offensive coordinator job. But I say that to say this: I don't think Deion Sanders is the face of college football. I think he's a very very influential man. I think he's the best athlete that we've ever seen come through football ever in anybody's lifetime. He is the best. And he's the best athlete, but as far as athletes being head coaches, he hasn't been a great head coach. And he mentions, about the HBCU, he brung two HBCUs players to Colorado to have tremendous success. Come on, bro. I know you're trying to push a narrative here. I know this. Shedeur Sanders was like a 4-star quarterback coming out of high school. He could have went anywhere in the country and started. He chose to go with his father to a HBCU. Travis Hunter was a 5-star coming out of high school. He chose to go to a HBCU. And the way that I read that, and I could be wrong, but the way I read that is like, well, he took two HBCU football players and made them one of the best in the nation. They were already one of the best in the nation before they even got to the HBCU. Yes, you can be proud that they went to the HBCU. You can be really proud of that. And, I would be proud of that if I was Travis Hunter or if I was Shedeur Sanders. I would be proud of that. But let's not act like they were like 2 or 3 stars coming from HBCU and then they finally became elite. They were already elite. They could have went to anywhere in the country and started easily. So that's pretty much that. All right.
All right. I'm tired, but I think it's only fair since I played mine. I'm gonna do this, and I swear to you, you better not ever ask me to do anything for you, and don't say I never did anything for you. I'm removing my. Well, no, I can't because I got to play audio. But I don't want my face to be shown for the rest of this stream. So what we're gonna do, Mayhem? I owe you one because you had to put up with it. But here we go. God bless America, and for Mayhem Matthews' sake, God bless the Georgia Bulldogs.
And to heck with Alabama.
I owe you one. I made you listen to Yay Alabama, so there you go. God bless America with this flag, by the way. Beautiful picture. Beautiful. Just beautiful. It's really nice. We love it. We love this country.
Yep. Speaking of loving the country, Donald Trump's going to be at the game.
Oh, I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah,
He'll be up in the suite for sure. They'll have him protected in the suite.
for sure. So,
Yeah.
anyways, all right, let's get out of here. We are very tired.
All right.
We had a really
Yeah.
good stream. Sorry that the last part of the stream kind of like we got a little bit tired, and we work really hard with our YouTube channels. So we will see you on the next one. And go Dogs, beat the heck out of Bama.
All I got to say left, Georgia, come get you some on Saturday. And Bama, Rammer Jammer, Yellowhammer, give them hell, Alabama. Let's go beat them puppies on Saturday and show them who's number one. Love y'all. God bless. Roll Tide.